Hello guys, welcome to the show. Today is going to be a quick tutorial of how I do my wiring looms, but this is just a simple wiring guide of what I do and the steps that I go through to get my cars started and fired up and obviously tuned and stuff like this. So yeah, I hope this helps for the people that need it. Let's get right into it. It's gonna be a long video, so kick back, relax, get a hot or cold beverage and enjoy. So today we're going with the EMU Classic from ECU Masters. This is the unit itself. It's very small, very compact ECU, but it can drive up to a 6-cylinder, fully sequential sparks, sequential injectors and all that stuff. Honestly, just go and check their stuff out. This is the pinout, laminated, quite nice. It can run wideband sensor as well. I don't think we're going to be doing that today, but there you go. It comes with all the pinouts of where you need to wire up stuff. Comes with, I think it's a 1-year warranty, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2, I'm not sure. Go and check it up on their website. I've never had to send anything back for warranty, so I'm not sure. Comes in a box. It has some extra pins. Obviously has the pins, all the pins that you might need if you're wiring this up. But what I like doing is I like getting this stuff. It's pre-terminated wiring loom for the EMU Classic. So basically it comes with every single wire that needs to come out of that ECU, bar the knock sensors. So the knock sensors, I usually wire it with insulated sort of a wiring, so we get a perfect clean signal if it is about to knock or anything like that. So this is the one that you get in the kit. This is the one that I have scribbled over when I was doing the M111 swapped car. This ECU is going in a M111 swapped car, but the swap is already done. I just need to make a wiring loom for it. Should be fairly simple. I think 2-3 days maximum and we'll be done. But yeah, so all the stuff that I'm using, so let's say auxiliary outputs, injectors and stuff like that, I basically put a small dot over there right next to it, and when I have analog input or external output, I like to label it on here. So when you start wiring your relays, as example, or running your wires through the engine bay, you can see which one of these does everything. You don't have to put any labels on the wiring, because there is already labels on the actual wire every 10 centimeters. So this is pretty cool feature about it. So let's see which one we're gonna need and start plugging them into the gray and the black connector which goes on the ECU. Alright, so these wires come in 3 bunches. So you have a small very thin wire setup. This is for all your sensors, injectors, auxiliary and stuff like that. And then you have this one, which is going to be for this one is all the sensor inputs and some switches and main trigger wheels and whatnot. This is your sensors. Over here you have the auxiliary output, so basically injectors, stepper motors, and so on and so on. And then you have the third one, which is the coils and the grounds. So the coils come in a relatively thick wire, which, let's say ignition coil number 1, it's pin number 8 on the gray connector. And if you look over here, this is on the side. So on the side of the connectors, it's the big gauge wire with the big pin, like this. Come on, focus. So yeah, that pin usually goes on the side of the actual connector every single time. You see these ones are bigger comparing to the other ones. So let's start plugging these. Once I plug something in, I put a dot right next to it. So next time I look at the chart, I know I have put ignition coil 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. they've already been plugged in, and then I can start going through the bunches of wires that I'm going to be using. So on this engine we're going to have the primary trigger, the cam sync one, we're going to have 4 coils, 4 injectors, we're going to have 1 or maybe 2 analog inputs. We're obviously going to have the coolant, the TPS and the inlet air temperature sensors hooked in. We have only one 5-volt supply, so we're going to need to splice a couple of things into that. So our crank sensor is a hole type sensor, so it requires a 5-volt supply. Our cam, same thing, hole type sensor, so another 5 volts going there. If we're running, let's say, oil temperature if we're running oil pressure and fuel pressure, we're going to need to supply another 5 volts to this. We're going to need to supply 5 volts to the TPS because that's like a digital input as well. Our coolant and inlet air temperature, they are only 2 pins, so they require just they need to be in the dedicated spot because they have some pullbacks and whatnot. But yeah, they don't need anything other than ground and obviously the connector that comes out of here. There's a sensor ground that is supposed to be used, so you get the perfect reading and you don't get like a noise and stuff like that. So yeah, just go through the menu, have a proper look, and then slowly work your way out. It should be fairly simple. It's not too complicated, it's just very time consuming. So let's start plugging these little guys in. We'll make a layout once everything is plugged in. We'll go to one of the cars outside and we'll make a layout and see how everything is going to be sitting. Once we make the layout, we can tape everything in place and then start running the 5 volt, the 12 volt and the grounds. Once we run all that, we can put our like a wiring sheathing and stuff like that, so make the wiring scratch resistant and stuff like that, and make it pretty, because this is really what makes the wiring pretty. Like if you can just throw it in there with just the connectors and all that stuff, maybe some tape around to keep the wires together, that will work. It will be absolutely fine. Like loads of car manufacturers used to do that, but nowadays, come on, we're 2024. We need to work towards visuals a little bit. It's fine if it's running perfect, but it needs a little bit more beauty in it. So let's go. It's we have 2 connectors that we need to almost fill up completely, so plenty of work ahead of us. Alright, so all the wires have been plugged into the connectors. Now we can go over to one of the cars down there and just cut everything down to size, and then we can start adding the 5 volt wires, the 12 volt wires and the ground wires. After we do that, put all the shielding on it, and then connectors, and that's it. Last thing will be the relays, but I'll probably do that once the car comes in, because I need to see how they've done things around, and I need to rip everything old out and put the new stuff in. And for that, I'm gonna leave a little bit extra length on the wires that are going to the relay, so I have space to work around. And you know, it's not gonna be all tight, bunched up in one space, because the worst part is when you need to go and change the battery and you need to move 15 relays and 2 ECUs to get to the freaking battery. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Let's go. So this is the M111 swap that we have been recently doing. Up here, everything is done. This is the way it's gonna be looking like. I just need to add a small pipe there and finish up the exhaust. But for now, let me show you. So over here, you can see the ECU sits in the standard location. Some wires are running down. I have left a one wire free because I think I might be adding a second relay just in case. And if you look down under there, I don't know how to show you. Well, under there is the relay box. This car obviously doesn't have space for 6 relays to be sitting here, so I moved it there. But on the project that we're going to be doing, I think there's going to be some space to put the relays over here. So as I said, I'm going to leave some extra length on the wires. If I can put them here, perfect, so it doesn't, you know, interfere with the battery swapping if you ever need to do that. And then we're going to take a measurement up to here, then all the wires for the injectors, sensors and whatnot going to be sitting over here, just tied it like that. And then the wires for the coils are running under here. And yeah, pretty much everything sits on that side of the engine. There's nothing on the hot side. The only thing that is on that side is the oil sensor, which is at the bottom, but I need to see how the other car is set up. And even though the oil sensor is there, the actual wiring comes up to here. There you go, oil pressure sensor that needs to be plugged in there. So this is gonna be pretty much the same. So let's lay the wires up, let's mark where everything needs to go, and we'll continue with chopping the wires and adding positive and negative stuff. Okay, out here might be a little bit noisy, but we should be able to make it work. So what I tend to do is, if I grab my ECU, I'll put it on the window, just on the side, and that gives me kind of the perfect slack for it. Now we need to separate a couple things. Basically, we have my tape in here, and auxiliary number 4. We know that this is our taco input. We can remove that straight out of here. The next one, all the power grounds, they can be removed out of here. The only thing that we're going to use is the sensor ground. All the grounds are going to go to one point of the engine bay near the battery. Volts as well. The feed is gonna come here on the side. Gonna sort these out in a little bit. Auxiliary 1 was our fuel pump. That can stay here. Auxiliary number 2 is our fan. That can stay here. Auxiliary number 3, I think, was our VVTI, so that will stay here. And auxiliary number 6 as well. Yeah, 3 and 6. These can stay going down that way. And I will try my best to pull these out as early as possible, because I really don't need them going down any further than this. So I orientate my wires going to the, let's say, the side of the wing as early as possible. This is pretty much, oops, that's the wrong wire. Right, so we have a nice, okay, bunched up place over here, just like that. There we go. Perfect. I can go to the side again. This can stay here. Whoop. It's much easier when the rubber seal is there. Nothing moves that much. There we go. We're going to be adding some stuff here later on, but for now, just to keep it in place nice and proper, we're going to put that. Alright, the next one that we know that separates is over here. Perfect. So now this can stay here, put it that way, put it here, and the coil wires, they can completely come out and go towards the passenger side of the wing. This can go down on its own and plug down there somewhere. Perfect. Alright. And then from here onwards, everything needs to stay around that sort of perimeter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna trace, we're gonna give a bit of slack. More slack is better than short wires, if that makes sense. But let's find all of the injector wires. We're gonna pull them out at the top. These are gonna be the first ones that we are gonna be cutting down to length. And we have the snips over here. So the way I usually do it is when I lay this, injector number 4 needs to come to plug number 3. This will give you plenty of space. This will give you plenty of space to move around stuff and so on. Injector number 3, we're gonna bring it all the way forward to injector number 2, and injector number 2 we're going to bring it down to injector number 1, and then injector number 1 I'm going to bring it down to about the cam sensor. Right, so now what we have is pretty much perfectly equal spacing, and you can loop it around. See, gives you extra space for you to crimp the connector at the front, put the wire, make it tidy, and it's not too tight so it doesn't pull left or right. But yeah, this is that pretty much. We can leave it sitting in the back now. Cam signal, I will give it a little bit longer than the actual way it needs to go. Same thing, we need to give it a little bit space to work around stuff, you know, because this will move here and then that will move down there, but the wire needs to do a couple 90 degrees as example to get to its destination. Primary trigger, just give it another 50 centimeters. Perfect, we don't need more than that. Auxiliary number 3, this is going to be our VVTI, so loop it around, imagine where that needs to go, chop it. Perfect. Primary trigger we're done. Stepper number 1, we're going to give it a little bit more space. That is going to be sitting around here somewhere. Cut it. Perfect. Right, coolant, let's find where the coolant is. This is pretty much about the same length as is going to be the boost solenoid. Yeah, so we can grab the boost solenoid and the coolant, pretty much loop them around, coming somewhere around here, chop them. Alright, and then we have left over the 5 volts, the analogs, like analog 1 to 4. We have intake air, this is pretty much around here. Perfect, chop it here. We have TPS, where is it? Okay, TPS, perfect, that's perfect, can leave that there. Analog 1, 2, 3 and 4, we're gonna keep these as simple as possible, man. So we're gonna clip these right about here, all of them at the same time. Reason for this is I can have the plug here and I can just shove it down. It doesn't matter if it's plugged into anything right now or if it's going to be added. It goes as far forward to the engine. I don't need it any longer than this, and any shorter you can make it work. Like, you can loop it around, it'll be absolutely fine. So this is it. Now we don't need to bunch up these wires the way we have bunched these, because pretty much from here onwards they're gonna be going as a single. So like this one, you see, this is just 2 wires in there. These are going to the coolant. I don't need it to be bunched up with other wires, just in case something changes or you don't want to unplug the thing while you're testing it. Like, you can just clip the zip tie, move the thing around, it's absolutely fine. The next thing that we are going to be doing is the coils. The coils are very simple. So if you grab the coils, bunch them up so they're together, bring it here, bring it as forward as here. Alright, and let's say coil number 3, give it a bit more space, let's say here. Boom. Coil number 1 as far forward as possible while giving it some space. Boom. Coil number 4, just clip it the same length as coil number 3, because one is going to loop that way, the other one is going to loop the other way, and you're left with coil number 2. Well, just cut it between coil number 3 and coil number 1. That will be absolutely perfect. Boom. You don't believe me? Try it. All right, and this is it. So this is about trimming the wires. As you've seen, it's about 2 minutes, maybe 5, worth of a job. It's pretty simple. You just need to envision where you want stuff to go and chop it to size, and that's it. Now the power and the ground wires. The coils need 12 volt through a relay and fused. So that's going to be coming from the relay box. Injectors, same thing, they need 12 volt fused coming from the injectors, now from the relay box. Now all the temperature sensors, coolant sensor, inlet air temperature sensor, these, they just need ground. Obviously the sensor comes with a sensor ground wire, which is this one. So what we do most of the time is where it splits out, I chop it and then add like a splice into one wire, splice in 4 or 5. Basically every single sensor is going to go into this singular sensor wire. So the coolant sensor, the inlet air temperature sensor, the TPS, both of the hole sensors are going to go on it. The oil pressure sensor ground is going to go on the fuel pressure sensor, ground is going to go on it. Like every single sensor that is attached to this engine, it will go to this singular wire. So I'm going to count how many strands of wire I need. I'm going to chop it, solder 6, 7 small gauge wires that need to go to the sensors, and that's it. Now the fuel pressure and the oil pressure sensors, they require a 5 volt or sometimes a 12 volt input as well. The ones that I'm using 99% of the time, they require just a 5 volt supply, same as the TPS, to get that 5 volt out from the ECU. And same thing as the sensor ground, I chop it and I add a couple more wires to it, like I splice them into it one together. So basically from one wire I get 6 or 5 or whatever I need. So this is pretty simple. The coils need 2 different grounds. They need a power ground, which goes to the battery, and then they need engine ground, which goes, most of the time I bolt it down to the head. The injectors, they need 12 volts. Obviously you get that through a relay with a fusible link in between of them. The boost solenoid and the VVTi, both of them run through 12 volt as well. So you need to supply 12 volt and then the ECU does the grounding. The H bridge, this does its own stuff. Just connect stepper 1B to one side, stepper 1A to the other side, and this is it. That's all it needs. You just click in. It's a 2-wire stepper, like a idle control valve, and that's it. It works pretty well. Analog 1 is probably going to be our wideband controller. Analog 2 is going to be a switch inside the dash. That's going to be grounding when we want low boost versus high boost. Analog 3 and 4, they're going to be a fuel pressure sensor and oil sensor. And that's it. It's as simple as that. You can see the hardest part of the wiring is actually running the power and the ground wires, which we're going to do in just a minute. This is the hardest part. Then everything else is pretty much straightforward. It's very simple. I don't know why people get very frustrated or awful when they need to start doing wiring. It's very simple. You just need to take your time with it. And obviously you need to free up your mind. You need to be thinking only into the wiring loom, because if you get distracted and you start doing a couple things at the same time, it just doesn't work. You miss steps, and the worst part will be like you finish a wiring loom and then you need to go back and tear up into your brand new wiring loom just so you can add another wire, or you can pull out a wire that you've added too much. But yeah, I'm gonna put you on time lapse, and let's run some power and ground wires. Alright guys, it's been a couple good days because we've had a slight increase in the family members, if you know what I mean. But yeah, today we're at my gym in my house, a small garage that I have built into a small gym. Anyway, I've had Dad bring me some stuff from the garage, and while the two boys are sleeping, I have 2 hours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start and run all the power and the ground wires for the wiring that we're doing, and I'll get Dad to bring me the heat gun tonight so I can all shroud it, and then tomorrow I'll put connectors on it, and I think Monday or Tuesday the actual car is coming. I don't know when you're seeing this, but beginning of April the car is coming, so we get to slap all that in and turn the key eventually, after I weld the trigger wheel and put the trigger wheel sensor and all that stuff, new injectors, new coils, blah blah blah. But yeah, this is it. This is all I need for wiring. So I have all sorts of thickness wires, the crimpers, some cutters, wire strippers, multimeter, a box of connectors and like heat shrink and whatnot, more wires, more connectors. It's basically a bit of everything there that gets me going. So yeah, also, since we're here, small part of the RC collection, these FTX things, man, these are bulletproof. Anyway, let me put the camera on tripod and let's get to running wires. Alright guys, do you like the music so far? I hope you do. I told you it's gonna be a long and boring one, but there you go, you're still sticking around. Thank you for that. Alright, let's have a look where we are up to. I have done the injectors, all the sensors, the edge bridge, and yeah, now the only thing left to do is the coils and the relay box. Let's have a look. Okay, I have 11 minutes of SD card left. Let's go. Right, so this is what it looks like. This is sorry, this is my plate from my lunch. Ellie made me a nice sandwich. All right, this is all the sensors. This is the edge bridge for our stepper motor. Then we have our auxiliary 3, which is going to be VVTI, and we have auxiliary number 6, which is going to be our boost. And then we have this, which is a cam sensor, 3 wires. We have analog in number 1. This is something else, so have a look. I'll trace the yellow wire down, it will tell me somewhere. This is, oh, analog 2. Wow, alright. But yeah, this is all of that. We have the primary trigger and all that stuff. But yeah, this is how I do it. Over here is a sleeving which holds all these wires together. They're going to be in a separate branch. In here, I don't know if you can see really well, over here is where the joining of all the wires, like the 5V and the sensor ground, happened. Everything sits here. From here, this branch is going to be on its own, laying on top of the engine, right next to the injectors. This is our NOx sensor that will go under the intake manifold. These are all the injector wires, the positive and obviously the trigger, the ground basically that ECU sends. And now it's left to do the same for the coils. I need to run a 12V wire from the relay box, like this one, that goes all the way around and it will go to the relay box. And I'm also gonna need to run a long ground that goes to the battery, and then a short ground that goes to the actual cylinder head. But yeah, I'm not gonna bother you with this. Yeah, sorry about that. There's trains that are passing in the end of the garden. But yeah, I'm not gonna bother you with the coil side as well. I'm gonna get back to you when I start doing the relays and the actual shielding. I think I'm gonna do the shielding, and then the last, as I usually leave it, is gonna be the relays. Because, you know, changes happen and I change my mind pretty frequently. So yeah, the relay box, it will be the last thing. All these are power grounds and stuff like that, they're going to the relay box. This is something that I haven't done before. This is basically gonna be our switches inside the glove box. I'm gonna use something called MUX switch. So on one analog you can put 3 switches. I'm gonna give it a try, and then the other one is gonna be, I'm gonna be running external O2 probably, because I don't like how the classic controls. I've tried to get my LSU 4.2 running on my drift car. I've fried 3 sensors, I've checked the wiring probably 15 times. I even texted a couple of friends and we couldn't figure out why I cannot get the LSU 4.2 working on a Emu Classic. On the black, piece of cake, no problem whatsoever. Wired it, Arco calibration, boom, straight away started working. On the Classic, I don't know. It's either I'm doing something wrong or the actual driver that, you know, drives the how do you call it? That drives the sensor is not working properly. Also, I think in the future I'm gonna set up a proper table for the M104 and for the M103 and M11 and M102 engines. So you'll make that job way quicker because you can just lay the wires. I'll mark where each one ends, cut it, and just, yeah, do this, but way more organized and quicker and straightforward. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Yet another train. I'm gonna have a 5 minutes break and we shall continue. As you can see behind me, there's already a car, which is the car that is going to be receiving this wiring loom. I have done the shielding mostly on the wiring. It's a pretty boring process, so I've cut that out for you, but let me show you the steps that I take to do it. So this is the ECU. This is going to be going to the glove box for the AFR gauge and for the MUX switch. This is grounds, and also, wow, and also these are the only connectors that you plug into the stock 190 Loom. One is for the tacho, the other one is ignition, and there's going to be a third one to power the fuel pump through the original fuel pump relay. This will be going to the relays. This is going to be for injectors, coils, and so on. Basically the main power output. One of these is going to be to power the fuel pump, and the other one is going to be to power the fan. These are all the wires, basically all the sensors at the front. Every single one of them I like to label, so it's easier for the guy that might be working next on the car, and it's also easier for the person that is doing the stuff, because you can just take a wire, rotate it, and you can see this one is inlet air temperature. That easy. The next thing that I need to do is wrap up the injectors and the coils in that shielding, which I'm waiting from Amazon to come right now. But yeah, cloth tape from here to the ECU. I just makes it like a tighter fit because the opening on the bulkhead is not all that big. And then I use this, which is abrasive resistant and also heat resistant, so it basically protects the wires from getting chuffed up and whatnot. But yeah, basically I get the length of my wires to where I want it to be. I already checked it on the car, by the way. I slide this on, heat shrink it from one side, heat shrink it from the other side, add the label to it, and that's it. That's as simple as it can get. After that, we strip the wires, we add the connectors with the boot, and that's it. Done. But yeah, this is it. This is the car. Somebody's done the conversion already on it. It's running a stock ECU with a wiring loom. That's been a little bit modified. We're going to be removing this because after a certain RPM it just boost cuts and it's pretty much undrivable after 4,000 RPM. So we're going to be putting our ECU Classic on it with a mechanical throttle body, but pretty much same as the car that we just finished. It works great. It gives you a great tunability. You can up the power if you do the engine modes or the turbo modes or whatever, and then you can switch from high map and low map. It's entirely up to you what you can do with this. It's fully customizable. We have a tablet over there, if you can see, charging right now. You can even connect your tablet to the ECU if you buy, I think it's 50 or 65 pounds Bluetooth adapter for the EMU Classic. It pretty much just plugs into the ECU, and then you can connect your phone. If it's Android, I'm not sure if iPhone still, like, if it works, but the Android devices, they can plug into it. So if you have a doubled in with Android on it, you can connect to that. You can connect your tablet, or you can connect your phone if you want to check like a quick stuff on the engine, like TPS, injector pose, timing, oil pressure, fuel pressure. Like, you can get so much data out of this, it's unbelievable. Some of them, I think, I'm not sure, I haven't tried it yet, but some of them I think they can do like a logging. So whatever you're doing, like driving around or racing or anything that you could think of, you can turn the logger on and will record data from the engine. So engine RPM, AFR and stuff like this, it will record all of that, and you can have a look later what the engine is doing. But yeah, we're gonna be fitting on this one a mechanical throttle body, same as the other car, 630cc injectors, and the Bosch, the Volkswagen R8 coils. Everything else is gonna stay the way it is. It has a big old hole set turbo on it. This thing can separate the head from the block with about a meter distance in between of them if you boost it to what this thing can do. But yeah, we're not doing that. We're gonna be probably running about 12, maybe 15 psi at maximum, same as the other car really, which is running the max speeding rods turbo. The engine swap is actually quite nice. I need to sort out exhaust, which is rubbing on the bottom of the car, which is very annoying when you're moving it around. But yeah, it has a tiny radiator, and if you look over there, it has a tire pumping valve on the expansion tank. So I'm probably thinking this is getting really hot, so they're using this to just release some pressure. I mean, whatever floats your boat, man. I can't judge other people's work because I have done some shady stuff in the past as well, so you know, it is what it is. So yeah, let's get back to this. All right, it's been a couple of hours. I have added the throttle body. I also have welded the trigger wheel to the new pulley, and I have mounted the sensor. So let me show you how I can manage to do this. Basically, I didn't film too much because my neighbor was cleaning some stuff with the pressure washer, so there was no point. It's too noisy. So let me show you. You didn't miss much, honestly. So right, throttle body is mounted. I just need to make a holder for the throttle cable. BMW E36 TPS. I just mounted this little plate to hold it in place, and we can get a full range of motion on this. I'm gonna get 120 degrees elbow that goes down. What else? All the wiring loom is removed, as you can see. I've removed the radiator and how do you call it, the intercooler, and this is our setup. So basically, there's that metal plate over there. I have welded a small washer with a bolt on it, and the sensor is bolted to this. And on the inner side of the pulleys, so you have the front side and the inner side, I have welded the trigger wheel. It's a 60-2. The inside diameter of this is 152 millimeters, and it fits exactly perfect over the ridges. So if you want, you can get one custom made from eBay, welded in place, and you'll be fine. So around here, I haven't rotated the engine to TDC. I'm gonna go grab the spanner and do this now. But around here is the two missing teeth. The sensor is a teeth number 8, and TDC is a teeth number 19. And this gives you a full range of motion. It gives you a 40 degrees before and after where the sensor is at TDC. So you can get a 40 degrees of ignition timing and 40 degrees of ignition retard. This is very crucial because if you don't set this right, what it could happen is when you go to give advance, and let's say at 20 degrees it gets to your missing tooth, then your engine is going to misfire because it's going to be losing sync. But yeah, I'm gonna go and rotate the engine to TDC. I have a yellow pen. I'm gonna mark this. I'm gonna zip tie the sensor wire so it's not touching the belt or anything like this. I'm gonna put in the coil packs and I'm gonna lay over the wiring loom, and we could do a test fire today just so we can hear it run. If not, we can do that tomorrow when I plug everything in. But yeah, 3 wires over there I need to do, and it should theoretically start. I'm still having the stock injectors, the 630cc injectors haven't turned up yet. We're still waiting for them, but let's put stuff back together, at least so we can verify 0 degrees at TDC over there, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we can hear it run, maybe not, I don't know. We'll see later today. Stick around. Okay, somewhere here I should have the coils. But I'm not sure where exactly they are. If you haven't noticed by now, George is a little bit messy. I'm trying to be good and tidy up after me, but you know, I get too excited. But yeah, R8 coils, or Volkswagen long coils if you want to tell it, I don't know. Smart coils, don't know. It's all of the above. Boom. These were cheap. All 4 coils, I got them for I think £110. Compressor back on. Let's see. This will go there. This will stay around here somewhere. This is the ground for the coils. And all that, look. Well, this is still loose, I can move it. Put it somewhere. Okay. Come on now. What? There we go. There we go. Lovely. Right, so this should, yep, go in the channel over there. Perfect. We can zip tie the injector one over here. Let's see. Will these plug in? They should. Theoretically. They should. Right. Number foil. Coil number 4. Where are you? This is number 3. This is number 4. So number 4 we can shuffle around. Go in there. Up. There we go. And number 3. I'll go here. There you go. Number 2 and number 1. Come on. Perfect. And then we can tidy up by just clocking the coils whatever we want them to be. course we can move the wires around just like this. There you go. You can sit here. Come on, give me some space. There we go. Perfect. Boom. Lovely. That's it. That's all we needed. Whew. Yep. This is our crank. This can come back down and we can plug it in. Boom. Boom, that's it, connected. We should be ready for fire. Not like real fire, like test fire. I'm not ready for fire. I don't want fire. There you go. This can be zip tied in there. It's not flopping around. Inlet air temperature, that's coming just about here. Coolant, that's to the front. Yep, don't have that sensor plugged in yet, but that's going to the front. The inlet air temperature, I'll swing underneath because that's gonna go to one of the pipes over here, just like this. Yep, I like it. I like it. The TPS for some reason doesn't fit the plug, and I think I was wondering why. I mean, it fits, but very tight. I don't know. It's a bit weird. It's a one from Amazon because couldn't get one from eBay on time, and of course you know how Amazon is. They're great, honestly, but not for everything. Alright, these are just extra outputs, how do you call it, inputs. For now, they'll sit here. Why are you? Cool. Oh yeah. Alright, cool. You need to swing down there, buddy. There was boost somewhere. Where's the boost? This is knock sensor that will come back down over there, and I need to break my hand in 3 again just to fit it. Woo, boost. Woo, VVTi. Alright, all the good stuff. Perfect, perfect. I like it. I like it. And this one is for the boost. That'll fit there. Oh man, lovely. So far, bing, bing, bing. Perfect. Zip ties. I need to go and grab some zip ties so I can tidy up here a little bit. That knock sensor, I can actually bring it from the side over there, how it is stock. It comes down over the starter and then plugs in somewhere there, down there, somewhere there. Did I put a connect? Yeah, put connect on there. Okay. These analog connectors, we're not using them right now, so they can stay there. Right, over here we're gonna need ignition to power on the relays. We're gonna need ignition, ground to power on the ECU. The ECU will nicely sit there, I believe. Yup. Just need to twist it around a little bit. And yeah, perfect. Oh man, lovely. That's good. Very good fit. Then these will go into the glove box later on. And the relays, I've never mounted them here, but hear me out. I think they'll fit quite nicely here. They'll be easy to service. Mind you, they'll be in the engine bay. I'm not sure if I want to be leaving them in the engine bay. These are here. Grounds and stuff, that needs to be here. But yeah man, that's not bad, you know. I don't know why I haven't tried that earlier. Oh, what about here? Oh yeah, see, I like that. Yeah, nice. I have plenty of space to put injectors whenever, the relays whenever I want. I usually stuff them behind the computer, like near the computer over there, near the ECU. But lately, I've been diagnosing another car, a third car you haven't seen actually yet. And it's been a right pain to have to pull that to access the relays. So what I could do on this one, just try it, you know, I can put them right here on the, either on the strut tower, or I can twist them and hide them near the battery over here. That will actually look very nice. Yeah, I think that will do. I think they'll be right here. They're not gonna be in the way of the battery. It will be perfect over here. Yes. Lovely, that's a plan. Alright, that's a plan. Okay. Right, we don't want the injectors plugged in yet. But what I want, I need to repair one of the eyelets on the, how do you call it, the starter. Because that was broken. It was hanging by a thread, and then when I removed it, it fell off completely. Alright, it's the next day. Let me show you how to connect the 3 wires from the wiring loom to the chassis, and then we're gonna test a couple things and we can give it a first crank, see how it goes. Alright. Over here is where the fuel pump relay sits, and it's connected to this thing over here. Right, so from here, number 5 is your ignition, number 7 is the fuel pump wire that you need to backfeed power to, and number 10 is your tach input. On this one, I have just chopped them out. We're going to put this to the side. I have soldered our wires, as you can see down there, with some heat shrink. And now we just plug that part in, the rest of the wiring loom. I have bolted the relay positive side over here. The ground, it's over here on the side. And that's it. Now we can put the battery in here. I can go and get my timing light, and we can give it a first crank. Verify that 0 degrees of timing is actually 0 degrees of timing. Once this is done, I'll put the coolant sensor in place. I'll put the intake sensor just over the throttle body. We'll calibrate the TPS. We'll calibrate the injectors and the coils. Make sure that DCU is seeing what it needs to be seeing. I'm gonna plug in the NOx sensor that's left over from yesterday, and pretty much we can load up a base map and we can give it a crank and see if it's gonna fire up. So let's do just that. Battery of the thing is running a bit low, but let's see if we can start it. Where's my wire? Oh shit, my bad. There's a huge vacuum leak over here from the brake booster. 19. Yeah. That should help. Where's my mouse? Oh, there you go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. There she is. Ah, it's running. 3 days. Well, 2 theoretically if you had the wiring loom already. Sick. Small idle as well. Look at that. Ain't that something, eh? Right, cooling. And I'll see you in a bit. There we go.